Real Estate Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. Real Estate Ninja, it's not the Economic Ninja channel, totally different. It's blowing up. Thank you so much to everyone that's been hitting the subscribe button. I cannot believe how many people are jumping on. There's a lot going on in the banking sector. This banking crash is heating up. People can't get their money out of the bank. Why? Hundreds of thousands of people. Why? Today. Because they can't get their money into the bank. I know it sounds crazy, but deposits are being held up. As we've seen in the beginning of the year, an awesome, huge banking crash, and in multiple banks crashing in July, August, just one last week. It's getting bigger, and now we have these deposits being held up. Here we go, out of Yahoo News, Finance, why some U.S. bank deposits are held up days after processing error delayed 850,000 payments. So that's 850, almost a million people. This is nuts. This is why I was warning years ago, and so many of you did it, and you got multiple bank accounts, and you split your direct deposits up over multiple banks, because not all banks are affected, but we have almost 1 million people with delayed deposits because of a glitch. This is, it's not a glitch. Type 1 if you think it's a glitch. Type 2 if you think this is done on purpose, just to see how far the American people will go. It says hundreds of thousands of payments never landed in U.S. bank accounts last week because of a processing error. This days later, the private company responsible for that error is still wrestling with the fallout. The clearinghouse, which processes a large portion of the bank-to-bank electronics transfers. Let me stop there and say this is going to happen in the stock market, I believe, in 2024, because not a lot of people understand street name recognition, that you don't actually own the stock in your brokerage account. Hey, just curious, just a poll right here. Type 3 if you knew that. Type 4 if you did not. That there's street name recognition is, so how do I break this down easily? So the money in your brokerage account is actually not owned to you. You own the rights to be able to buy and sell it. You don't own the certificate, right? It can be taken away. Great point, in case in point, is when GM canceled all of its shares during the Great Recession, only to, leave all of those shareholders holding a bag of nothing, and then reissued shares years later, to pay back the government loans. That's going to happen soon, I believe, in 2024. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you something else. I believe that you're going to see brokerage accounts like these fly-by-night, gamified, I can't even say them because they'll sue me. You could probably put them down in the comments below. These, where they pay for you to join their house, as they have a really high customer acquisition rate, or cost. These brokerage houses that are on apps, and they trade in dark pools, and they don't also have the best clearing functions. I got to say it carefully because they're not going to like this, but you're going to see them where they halt trading on certain stocks on the sell side or the buy side based on how liquid they are or illiquid. You're going to see that a lot, and that's happening right now with banks. So it says the clearinghouse, which processes a large portion of the bank-to-bank electronics transfers that happen in the U.S. each day, said Tuesday in a statement that some payments were delayed last Thursday because instructions were sent to financial institutions with the account numbers and names of customers masked. That made it impossible for banks to immediately process and post the payments on this Thursday or Friday. In many cases, these transfers continued to be delayed, said the clearinghouse, which is owned by 22 of the nation's largest banks. So you can see now where having multiple banks is good, right? Having your deposit broke up into multiple banks in case of something like this. What blows me away is that nobody's really reporting, okay, there are so many people in our country that are paycheck to paycheck. Some on their own, because it's their own fault. Some because it's not. Life happened and they weren't prepared for it. And that's what I've been trying to get people prepared for, this next real estate collapse, along with the stock market crash, and how to hedge yourself against inflation. Because if we lose the money, the wealth of the nation, the middle class, we're done. This country is over. And it's very important that people understand that. So I've got to try and encourage people to get out of debt, get into less debt, shore up your financial home. Because cases like this, there are people that are going to miss their credit card payment this week. They still don't have their deposit because they were running that short, or they're running to payday loans. We're going to probably see a big spike in payday loan usage, which, to be honest with you, I've tried to research, and it's sort of a dark hole. They don't really want you knowing what's going on with the American public or anyone in the world that are needing payday loans. It's a very, to me, it's just a very dark place to be in lending. I would never want to lend in that kind of market. But that's what's coming. I think you're going to see that soon. Now, it says in many cases, these transfers continue to be delayed, said the clearinghouse, which is owned by the 22 of the nation's largest banks. The glitch affected roughly 850,000 people. That represents a small percentage, or roughly less than 1% of the 130 million payments that moved across the automated clearinghouse or ACH networks last Friday. That doesn't matter to me. How often have you seen, or when was the last time you saw a glitch like this? Oh yeah, just about 1 million people didn't get their paychecks last week. Like, what? And they're saying, oh, don't worry, that's only 1% of the nation. You know, I remember a day when, 1% of something, like 1% of people that are unemployed, as it ticked up the extra 1%, that was a big deal. And I think it's 1% today, 2% tomorrow. And our entire nation is it's so revolving around this ACH direct deposit sort of system. And when you see a glitch like this, you're like, okay, well, what else is going to be vulnerable? It says that network, which has existed for decades, okay, we haven't seen problems like this, let banks route payments to each other electronically. Banks use the system to send direct deposit paychecks or transfer money customers use to pay mortgages and utility bills. It's processed 7.8 billion in transactions during the third quarter of 2023. According to the National Automated Clearinghouse Association, or NACHA, N-A-C-H-A, the clearinghouse's ACH operation essentially handles half of the U.S. commercial ACH volume. The Federal Reserve has a separate ACH network. Now, I want people to understand this. Please hear me carefully. I believe these little things are being set up on purpose to prepare you for the rollout of the central bank digital dollar. They're going to come up with all of these reasons, like, look at these glitches. That's an antiquated system. SWIFT is an antiquated system. So let's bring you a new system. Or during a time of crisis, like let's say a world where the world has just closed their doors for business. I'm trying to pick my words carefully. And they go, you know what? We can't get the checks to you fast enough. We could do this. Just download this handy dandy app on your phone. You're going to input your name, your address, your social security number, and you're going to upload your ID. And then there's just going to be this bank account on your phone, and the Federal Reserve is going to be able to bring you money directly. Okay? Now, I want you to understand this. That is their plan. Please understand that. I read some Federal Reserve minutes from, I think it was like 2014, 2013. They're talking about a digital currency in the digital age. And they said that they couldn't implement it unless there was a crisis because the public would not buy off on it. And I remember when I read that, it just alarm bells were ringing in my head. And it was a very serious time. And real quick, I just want to thank everyone that hit the thumbs up because this channel has been doing so much better than the other channel because some of these warnings. We'll see where this channel goes in the future. But you have to realize that they want chaos. The powers that be want chaos because that's when people make irrational decisions and they're not their best selves. Someone's going to take advantage of this crash. I hope it's you. I'm going to. I hope it's you. If you're a good-hearted person and you don't have a lot, you'll be a good-hearted person when you have a lot. I think you owe it to humanity because over the centuries, the money changers, government officials, central bankers have become wealthier and wealthier while the people of the world become poorer and poorer. They become slaves, serfs. It's returned to serfdom right now. And I think it's so very important that you understand that you play a vital role in all of this. Right now, today it's 850,000 people. 850,000 people. And they're saying, oh, don't worry, it's just 1% of the network. That's 850,000 people that could very well desperately need that money to pay a credit card bill or go buy food. And it's 1% today, but what's going to happen next year? I remember 2016 being a crazy year because of who was running to run the country. I can't imagine what it's going to be like this time. I think this next year is going to be full of tragedy. But at the same time, I believe for someone like you that's willing to stand up, type 5 if you're that person that's willing to stand up and do something about this. I believe this next year is going to be full of victory and stretching you as a person, you as a business person, an investor, someone that runs a household, someone that cares for a household. It's going to stretch you because you saw the warning signs and you did something about it. And I believe personally, and keep typing 5 if you feel like that is you. If you're that person, you're going to join the ranks of the most amazing team ever. And this time, it's not going to be like the Depression and the crash of 29, when they got everybody into cheap debt after a flu in 1918. It's not going to be like the Great Recession. All we need is 10% of Americans to be ready for this and get ready to buy these assets up. We can't warn everyone. I'm trying my hardest. Every time you hit a thumbs up and you share these videos, you're helping just as much. And I thank you for that. But today's glitch is tomorrow's chaos. And we only have so much time to get ready for this. And the more you get ready, the more you're going to be better be off. And you know what? If it didn't happen, which I'd be shocked if it didn't, because every 7 to 10 years we have a recession, and every 50 to 100 years we have a big crash, and we're in a 100-year cycle right now. Matter of fact, we just passed, like a month ago, the 100-year anniversary of the Weimar Republic's hyperinflation. I want people to understand how big of a deal this is, because it's the greatest opportunity of your life. Thank you so much to everybody that's hitting the thumbs up, hitting the subscribe button, the bell icons. I'm going to put some more discount links, 80% off the real estate crash course. After the first year, I'm never going to be selling these courses again this cheap. We're going a whole different direction. And I'm grateful to some people that have come alongside of me and given me a boost of confidence, because I'm only one person, and I have my faults too. But I'll tell you what, when my mom passed away, I knew that when I lost my cheerleader, that I was going to be the cheerleader for people that didn't have someone like my mom. And all of us have had a cheerleader in our lives, and they've either come and gone, or maybe you guys still got some. But I'll tell you what, I want to be the cheerleader for the nation, that this is not going to be the time for the elites to make more money and become wealthier. This is time for you. This is time for me. We're going to rise up, and we're going to crush it. The Real Estate Ninja is out.